have anything to say apart from what people have said about what you said. And secondly, my OB, Basil Asuman. There's one thing I find very interesting about his government, is that it seems that they don't coordinate what they want to say. Unfortunately, Mike Mukula is saying very good words, but they probably may lose what he wants and what he wants to be given. Biggest problem. But what I say is we are all struggling, and please, let's change this government.
Strong was Mr. Basalirwa.
Yes, two things. Number one, I think Honorable Mukula should by now be appreciating one thing. We have a crisis, we have a challenge of language and attitude. As a matter of fact, this is the moment where we expected the highest display of humility from government officials. Unfortunately, it is the reverse. It is what we are witnessing is the highest display of arrogance. Most of our leaders are being snobbish. So you discover that the people from the telephone calls are just disgusted by just one simple thing, language and attitude. So I think Captain Mukula will take that message very seriously. I don't know whether the president will be willing to listen to such. I don't know whether he will not describe it as mafia kuku. Number two, somebody was, I didn't get the name, but from the voice should have been Mr. Chigozi.
Go on.
He says, before this decision of walking to work, were there earlier initiatives of dialogue? I have mentioned here that up to now we are waiting for a communication from Honorable Justice Ogola about about the request, the need to meet President Museveni and agree on the way forward for this country. It's coming to about 2 months. So those efforts were there, those efforts are there, and we are still waiting for confirmation in as far as that matter is concerned. Elements of criminality within this process must be condemned, and police must take charge. Okay, you to describe what has been happening as a riot is to arrogate unto yourself powers of court, because a riot is defined. Okay, right. When you read the Penal Code Act, it's defined.
Right.
So I don't want to condone elements of criminality. I just want to call upon police to take charge of the situation. Rather than focusing on the few people walking, they should focus on guarding the rest of the Ugandans from evil and criminal-minded people who will come and wreak havoc in an attempt to smear this campaign negatively. So I think there is absolutely nothing wrong. And finally, Ugandans must appreciate one thing. To demonstrate is not, the word demonstration is not bad. As a matter of fact, you can demonstrate over satisfaction or dissatisfaction.
Right.
In developing countries, people tend to construe demonstration negatively.
Right.
Okay? So people must be taught, if tomorrow we are satisfied with the performance of Honorable Mukula in anything, we will demonstrate.
You can go on the Kampala carrying banners.
In support of that. So I think,
or the buying of jets, you could say we are glad they are
tomorrow we'll see people going on saying we are very glad. Okay? So this is something people must learn. It's not bad to show dissent.
Honorable Mukula, maybe before you respond, this is for you. Someone said, Captain, please allow me to teach you. 2 wrongs don't make a right. If the opposition have done bad, what solutions do you give? The global issues mean we keep quiet. This is meant.
Well, you see, global issues are also sometimes have a local implication. We are now in a global village. So what happens globally to a large extent, like fuel, like terrorism, and some of these other issues have got a way in which they cross flow into our borders and have implications in our economy. You know, let me say that I think what is important at this stage is for us as a government to provide a window of hope to the people of Uganda. I think that is the most fundamental thing. I think at this stage, and this is where I would like to have a meeting of minds, where we could be able to say, okay, we may have a problem. It's like terrorism, like when Ugandans are bombed or lose their lives in the rugby club as a result of terrorism. You don't come in and say government has failed to do its work. I think at that time, you all come together as Ugandan first. Stand together and attack those who have caused the loss of life. At this stage now, we have a problem which is facing us. And I want to say that with all humility, that in politics, it is not what is right that matters, but what appears to be right.
Right, appearances.
Because it's about perception.
Perception.
At this stage, it's the perception, what we radiate to the population, the message we package to the population. I think this is the critical point.
Right.
And that's why I would like to say that I appeal to my brothers. And with really humility, with a message of good hope, to appeal to them to abandon this direction they are taking.
Right.
Because I have said it before, that it does not matter how many times we demonstrate. The Europeans, where the stock exchange, the demand, the factors of demand and supply, will still keep the pressures high, and as a result, the price of oil will go up. Now, the question is, what are the adjustments that we can make in order to provide a direction which can now be able to see how we, the people who are hurting, where the shoes are feeling,
eating termites.
Eating termites, as it were. I think the most important thing here now is that the ordinary person who provides food and puts food for the children at home sees that when he goes home, the wife at home tells him, no, you need to increase the budget. You gave me 100,000. It's not enough. You need to give me 200,000. But when you look at the budget, balancing the equation, the salary remains constant. Maybe the income and the demand on rents and so on remains income. So what I'm saying is that for the urbanites, the urban population, this hurts more, especially those who in the urban centers. That's why, as a member of parliament representing the municipality, I understand what it means. Two, there may be a silver lining in the dark cloud. And to say that, yes, in the economics, once you have, and you note that in the global market, the price of maize has gone up by 74%. Wheat went up by 84%. Sugar went up by 77%. Oil and fats went up by 57%. Rice, fortunately, remained stable by December 2010. And it was more or less about 4%.
Okay.
The point is, there are certain areas now where we need to address. And Uganda's economy is based on demand, is more like what you earn is what you spend.
Yes.
So the question is, if you are to take decisions to reduce the cost of fuel immediately or instant now,
service delivery suffers.
Service delivery will definitely suffer.
Right.
And it means that if you start defaulting on payment of salaries for the and wages for the civil servants, for the army, for the police, you're now calling for a worse position.
All right.
That's why you need to make sure that the policy adjustments must be very carefully studied.
All right. Interesting, very insightful discussion there from Honorable Mike Mukula, NRM Vice Chairman, Eastern Uganda. Time lets us, well, we have to go. Time has come. Our time has come to an end. It's not let us down. MPs-elect, Soroti Municipality, Honorable Mike Mukula, thank you for coming on Spectrum, sir.
You're most welcome, and it has been a pleasure being on 90 Spectrum.
Mr. Asuman Basalirwa, President of Jeema, also a member of the Walk to Work campaign task force. Thank you for coming on to Spectrum tonight.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for tuning in. We have to go now. As for me, Edmond is your host tonight. Say have a good night. We'll be back tomorrow. Up next is the news in English.
Let's connect with the man that deals in agriculture. Let's make it easier to borrow the money he needs to grow his farm.